Good afternoon, my peoples. Welcome to the episode of The Big Dam. This your boy Bobby Hill. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Happy Memorial's Day. Hope everybody, excuse me, excuse me. Hope everybody enjoying their day with their family. Honoring those who have served, honoring those who have lost their lives for the defense of this country and what this country stands for. You know, every time I see a veteran, I do it anyway. But whenever time I get a chance to see a veteran, I always shake his hand and say thank you for your service. It doesn't matter. Like I don't ask what you did. Where most time they have some sort of something on, like a shirt or outfit or a hat to say what they served. Like today, I spoke to uh, a Marine, talked to a veteran that was a Navy man. And I told both of them, "Thank you for your service in the Marine." I guess he was still serving, and he gave me the day, like how long he had served to the T, 23 years. And he told me all the days, hours, everything. So yes, I like to always give shout out to the people, to the give honor to the people who lay their lives out. They don't do it for no, do it for us as a whole. It don't matter, your political affiliation or anything like that, man. You do it for your man next to you. So, they make a sacrifice that a lot of us don't even understand or, appreciate or even notice. But yeah, they sacrifice it all for us. So I always like to honor them and let them know that we out here, we appreciate it. Even the ones who act like they don't appreciate it, trust me, they appreciate it when they wake up every day and they blanket of freedom, and they freedom when they wake up every day or go to sleep at night and put their blanket of freedom over them. That's because of y'all. So yes. And it was good last night. Got a chance. Watch the game last night. It was good. Don, they pulled it through. You know, beat them up pretty good. Good defensive effort, a team defensive effort. And they look very good. Wemby looked motivated. This team looked very poised. I know they done. They lost the last two. Well, one game where it was up 15-0 and they sort of lost it. So I was impressed how they were able to bounce back and not let that keep them down. They were able to come back up and rebound. That's what they do. I mean, it's all about sometimes experience can be overrated. There's such thing as on the job training. Because nobody or maybe one person or it hasn't been done maybe once or twice don't mean it can't get done at all. If the team can take it all the way without having that, playoff heartbreak loss or whatever, having to grind or go through steps and stages the way other people have. I mean, if they go straight through from, first playoff experience as a team and run it all the way through, I mean, that can happen. You know, who says they have to lose? Who says they have to do this? They showing y'all, they got that swag. They believe in each other as a team. Being sometimes just that right there can, take a team over the edge or make be the difference between being a runner up and a champion. Just believing in yourself as a team, and this team really they believe in themselves and they trust themselves. They trust each other, and you'll see the results. And this game coming up is very pivotal. This might tell who. I mean, this is a very big game coming up. You And if they play with like if San Antonio play how he's supposed to play, they should win this game. You know, they have no problem being in Oklahoma City shouldn't be an issue because they went there and took game one in Oklahoma City. So that is not an issue. I think it's just them how they come out. And they come out aggressive. Don't get rattled. Don't let Caruso rattle them. the touchy fouls they call on Gilgis Alexander. Don't let that rattle them. All they got to do is stay focused. Keep their edge. Let the support Wemby. The ones take smart shots, play good defense, get contributions from the bench, and I think it should be good. You know. But yeah, it's good. And it's good to see like I said, being around this area, being around here, being engulfed in all this stuff, in the fandom. See the people after the game riding around, blowing their horns and being all happy and stuff. Yeah, it's real like that around the out here. They selling shirts and everything. Just real. They love their Spurs around here. They really do. And it's pretty good around here, and I like that. I like that. Like I said, there's a lot of coaches around here, a lot of different coaches, a lot of different, people, shapes, sizes, colors, from nationalities, everything. It's just some of everybody around here. It's very, very, and like I said, it's a, to me, first it was a culture shock because I wasn't used to being around that many different variety of people. I knew that, man. Of course, I knew all these people existed as far as that, but I never had experience of living amongst people and interacting with them on a daily basis. Because me being a truck driver, I didn't get a chance to be around. I was around people in restaurant locations. If I was in a store, in and out, not really communicating with people or mingling with people, not like that. But now able to see people, see how they interact, see how they live, see their customs and stuff. So, very good. It's good to, learn something every day. As long as you're alive, you learning. School's in session every day you're alive. You always learn something. So it's good to be able to, see all that. And one thing I was thinking about, my wife with me this morning. First of all, I give a shout out to my lovely wife, Sandra Hill. She's the reason why I say every time she's the reason why I'm out here doing this, why I'm up here doing this. Giving this effort. Trying to, do something. Trying to do something special. Hopefully it's special. Trying to do something, trying to make a difference. That's all. I like to give her a shout out for all the support and all the help that she's given me. So, like I said, every show I will always let her know, and let y'all know that I'll let her know. I was with her. She was with me today, and I was, like I said, we'd be doing a little bit of DoorDash. I was shopping. I'd be shopping groceries for people. Delivering and stuff. And it's pretty good money. San Antonio got 1.3 million people, so it's it's a lot of money out there. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, I was in the grocery store. So there was family, I think they might have been from maybe India. I was thinking that area, around that area of the world, India. Little kid probably could be no, but he, the way the grocery store here is HEB, but they have, or I guess most grocery stores have it, I think, but they have the little miniature shopping carts, and they have a pole and a flag up there has shopper in training. So little kid, little boy, young little boy. Yeah, actually, probably if I had to guess, I probably would say he probably was about 2, maybe 3 years old, something like that. Little kid, short little kid. I mean, the males from that area some of them aren't the tallest people in the world. And that little kid, he was short. He looked short little kid. He was just walking. So he walked past me, and I was looking at him. And he was looking at me. He was just staring and just smiling and walking at the same time. I was walking to him. I said hey to him, and he smiled. And this, and I see a lot of kids like that. And I, some of them look and everything because, they're not. I mean, but probably because they may look like I ain't never seen nobody that look like me before. Not saying I'm all that. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. That it's just that you know, where especially the part of town that I live in, and where there are not too many people, there are not too many of me walking around here. I'm not the tallest. No, I'm short. They people are 6. The average height around here is like 6'4", at least. So but me being a bigger person, bigger stature person, dark. They don't see too many Django, Luke Cage looking niggas walking around here. So I'm sort of like a very, very like scarce looking individual walking around here. So when they see me, they looking. So he was smiling. He was smiling, and stuff like that. And I told my wife, I said, what's sad? I said that right there proves that is not, racism is not inherited. It's learned. I said, right there, he looked at me and looked at me and saw me as an individual and stuff. I said, but you know who's going to tell him that I am different from him? Someone in his household, someone that he loves, maybe mother, father, somebody's going to tell this kid growing up that I'm different than him. And that's how, stuff like that. That stuff is learned. It's not, inherited. The kids see each other, they see each other as, they don't look at one person. Hey, you look different. They look different. Hey, my skin different than yours, stuff like that. But they don't, see the individual as a different person in them. Only how that person treats them. If you're nice to that person, they're nice to you. It's when other factors, other people get in and interject their ideology or their feelings or their prejudices on a person that that builds that you know builds that attitude or that personality, that racist mentality. They've been told every day that this person is different or this person isn't like you or this person isn't as good as you and stuff like that. So when people hear that, they're sort of gonna have this sort of air of arrogance around this person saying because of what they've been told that this person is beneath you. This person don't deserve to be around you. Stuff like that. They hear stuff like that. Which is very unfortunate, man, because I think everybody should be judged by, their interaction with that person there, not because of what some sort of historical factor or whatever. How y'all interact with each other right there. That's how you judge that person. You know, you don't sit up here and if you don't, minus some other things you judge on. You sit up here, killed somebody, murdered somebody, cold blood, or you're fucking with you're messing with, doing pedophile stuff and crazy. Yeah, that's different. I'm just talking about, I'm just talking about, somebody might say this person may be a racist, you know, and I might know that. I might know that person. That person might be racist. Might have said some racist things before, but let's say, we out in public or whatever, and I run into this person in Walmart. You know, if as long as that person is not sitting up here being openly disrespectful to me, I'm not going to sit up here and go out the way to be rude or anything like that. But I'm gonna judge that person how he interacts with me at that moment. If he says hello, I say hello, and he says hello back and stuff like, yeah, it's all good. No problem, man. It's just as long as person don't be disrespect, and stuff like that, man. I mean, we can always have a dialogue. We can always talk, but you gotta be open to talk. You can't be, being one of these disrespectful people. Because once you start being disrespectful, the conversation, that cut short conversations because then nobody want to feel like they're being disrespected by somebody else. If you're trying to talk and you want to get your point across, you got to allow the other person to get their point across. You got to be able to agree to disagree, or you got to be able to sit there and listen to somebody without, insulting that person or just because y'all don't think alike, you know. That person thinks the way he thinks, he got facts and whatever, he got a good reason. Don't sit there and call it. You don't know that person's life. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what, caused them to be to have that, train of thought. So try to understand that so you can understand that person. Instead of judging someone off of your initial bias or because of what you heard somebody else say and stuff like that, man, that causes division. And these times we need to be bringing each other together. We don't need to be divided, and we need to try to come together and stuff because you know I mean it's tough out here. It's real tough out here. No, so I mean, like I said, it's real unfortunate that and there's people out here that get paid off of. I mean, I can say on either side, both sides of the spectrum. There's people out here getting rich off the fact that we're divided, that we are, we can't get along with each other. We can't, we can't. Now it seems like that they can't even serve in the same government together, man. You got these people that sitting up here trying to rush to take away black representation in state and local state governments and federal government, stuff like this. So, that's very unfortunate. And you see, I don't understand why they're doing that. Like, this is if you can't win, if you lose, just say you lost and go, either go get better or find something else to do, man. You don't got to sit up here and try to, you know, rig the game, rig the damn, trying to keep power when you're not doing anything with your power, man. Look at the status. Look at the status of where we at right now. You trying to tell me that putting more y'all in power is gonna make us better? Nah, you tripping, cuz. You tripping. You really tripping. You are really tripping, man. It's funny, man, because y'all. It's funny because it's amazing how things people get amnesia. It's amazing how people get like I said, selective memory. That's a thing I notice people. It's a lot selective memory. You bring up anybody, bring up drain the swamp. What does that mean to people now? If they bring up drain the swamp, you know, tell me where the swamp has been drained. Nah, that swamp ain't been drained. That swamp is up. You were damn up to your damn neck up in swamp. You up to your neck in gators. Exactly. There ain't no swamp. There ain't nothing drained out. The only thing that's being drained is the damn money out of the United States by Donald Trump because he's trying to scam the grift. He's trying to grift. That's all he used. He used poor, uneducated white people to grift the United States out of money, and that's what he's doing right now. And he's in power now, and all people can do is just sit there and watch him do it because the Republicans are too scared to, contest them because they're afraid they're gonna get primary and losing their job. Because to them, it's more important to, you know, maintain your seat than to do right for the people that you're representing. Even though the people don't want you there, you want to stay there because you feel like that you benefit. No, you don't feel like you benefit. You do benefit from doing all this. The money you make from being on television and yelling out the loudest, the craziest, the racist, the dumbest stuff, and you get compensated for it. So that's one of the reasons why we are where we are now. Being the loudmouth, being the hot shot, being the person who says the most outrageous stuff, whether true or false now, is profitable. And that's what these people are sitting up here doing, man. And it's sad, man, because it's what it's doing is pushing common sense in the background, man. And this is what we need more common sense than ever now. Because there's an idiotic thing going on out here, especially from this damn administration, that you need to have common sense. So you won't fall, what they say, you won't fall for the okie doke. Leave that. So I don't know. I say, you can, I'm some. I ain't gonna say I'm always a glass half full person. I can be glass half empty sometimes. It can get tough, but try to keep my head on straight, trying to maintain the faith. Listen to some pop or listen to something to make me think. Try to stay level headed and stuff. So yeah, I don't let this stuff get overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff going on out here, man. And always, mine always is, if you can't deal with it, don't sit up and worry about stuff that you have no control over. It's a lot of things I don't have control over. I'm not gonna sit here and I look at it and be like, oh yeah, it's bad. Okay, oh that's I'm sorry that happened or stuff like that. But I'm not gonna lose. I'm not gonna you know cause myself anxiety or stress or overwhelming amount of stress over things that I have no control over. You know, all you can do is what you can do. All you can control is what you can control. No more, no less. Yeah. So don't sit up here and worry about stuff that you have no control over. All you're gonna do is, stress yourself into an early grave. Which people had told us stuff like this like earlier, man, in our lives, man. We hadn't really, we didn't have nobody to. It's sort of sad, man. We had nobody. We're sort of having to navigate through this world with like no sort of, guidance or guidance or leadership, and especially like I said, I can only speak from my experience, and I'm pretty sure that things like this have happened all over the country. There are probably stories of this and all over the country, different areas, in our neighborhoods and stuff. But yeah, I like the you know, when I was look at the status of what goes on in my hometown, look at some of the things. It's sort of sad that it's, things are the way they are when it comes to my people because it feels like we were set up. Feel like we were always set up to fail. The whole you know structure in that town, was set up for us to fail. You know, by us. I mean, by people that don't look like us and us. And I can, I'm gonna talk about, talked about, the man. We don't talk about that, ad nauseum. So I'm gonna tell you about us, how it's us that, that sort of help to to make our current situation the way it is. That we never we had blacks. We had black people that went to HBCUs, they went to college, and they made it up there, and they graduated, did good for themselves, education wise, and they come back, they come down, and they became teachers, administrators, and stuff throughout the town, throughout the school system. We had, a couple of teachers, you know, maybe a couple of vice principals, and I think, principal. And the reason I'm saying is the reason I'm bringing this up is because there were examples of people who have had that had the education, that had that made it to the made to the other side of this of high school and stuff like that, and they knew what it took to get there, knew what it took to qualify or whatever, you know but it always seemed like that the people who had the keys to that kingdom always kept it locked up in their house. All these people that had all this education, they lived among us. They didn't live. Clinton has only 8,000 people in it, probably somewhere between 8,100 and 8,900, somewhere between that. So it ain't that many people there. So these people lived among us, and even though they live among us, it always seemed like that they were far away from us, even though they live right a few blocks away or lived there because there was no outreach. You know, they never came. They people knew the situation would go. They knew that we talented youth. They not just in athletics, man. It wasn't just we of course we all we had a lot of great athletes, man, but they had a lot of great people that could have been excelled in different things, as scholars or whatever, man. All they needed was someone believing in them, man. And we didn't. And sometimes they couldn't get it at home because of the structure of our home, because of whatever, for whatever reason. Sometimes we couldn't get it at home, but if we couldn't get it at home, there was nowhere for us to go get that, motivation or that direction. You And that led to a lot of young black men to go towards the streets because there was no when they needed somebody there to you know bring them in and say, come on son, I can help you, I can get you out of here, I can get you what you want to do in life and stuff like that. When they needed that person there, that person wasn't there. They were there, but they chose not to help, or they chose to sit in the damn window and look at you out here. And, they didn't want to get involved, or they didn't, So I always felt like that, with that these people didn't help, man, because there were people that, there was kids in our neighborhood that probably, didn't realize that, that they could have excelled in college, or they could have at trade school or whatever. They could have did anything, but they were never told that, or they were, the only time they saw it, it was presented as if it was an unreachable, unattainable, that yeah, you can have it, but you got to have money, or you can't do this. I can't do it because I live in the damn hood. I don't have money, or whatever. You know, they weren't never told that it don't matter from where you came from. If you qualify, if work hard, that you can go here. We were never told that growing up. We were never given that sort of advice growing up. Most of us, the only chance at college we had was to play sports, and we had to go through a white man to go through that. A white man who called us Bo. That's who we had to get. That's who we had to. I would. That's what we had to go through to get to college, or unless we was blessed to have people in our family that had knowledge of it. But a lot of us in our neighborhood, we didn't have knowledge of that because most of the people in our neighborhood worked at a damn manufacturing plant, or a damn pork processing plant, or a hog farm, or drove trucks and nothing like that. Then when we didn't have a lot of college scholars in our neighborhood, like in our immediate neighborhood, we didn't have them, so we didn't have that knowledge. We didn't know about earning scholarships, financial aid, even applying. You know, we wanted to apply for a college, man. We had to we a lot of us didn't know where to go. You know, and it's like that. So